All right, so far in our solutions, we've mostly talked about electrolytes and not so much about non-electrolytes. So just a little review. Electrolytes, they conduct electricity. That's why they're called electrolytes. And they do so, they conduct electricity because they have positive and negative charges in them. Electricity is the movement of charge. So in order to have electricity, you need to have charge that's able to move. And this charge comes from dissolved ionic compounds. And we've seen this before, right? So for example, if you take some potassium chloride as a solid and you toss it in a bunch of water, it'll form ions in solution, right? It'll form positive potassium ions, and then it'll form negative chloride ions in solution. However, that's not the only thing that we can dissolve in liquids. We can also dissolve molecular compounds. So these will form non-electrolytes generally, so they don't conduct electricity. Which means they don't have these positive and negative charges. And the reason that they don't have these positive and negative charges is because they're not made out of ionic compounds, so they don't have ions, right? So these are generally dissolved covalent or molecular compound, whichever word you want to use. So for example, if you take some ethanol and you toss it in some water, it will mix with ethanol, will dissolve into the ethanol, but it won't form any ions. It's just going to make an aqueous solution. And if we think about, electrolytes, right, they're called electrolytes because they conduct electricity. So this example's on the right here. You can see that we have positive and negative ions in here, which have high conductivity, which then if you, attach a little circuit to it, you can light up this little light bulb because it conducts. While on the other hand, molecular compounds generally don't have this conductive feature because they don't form ions in solution. However, that's not true all of the time. You'll say, but molecular compounds can react with water to form ions. So for example, if you have some hydrochloric acid and you add that to water, right? Hydrochloric acid is a molecular compound as we've learned. However, when it interacts with water, it will form a reaction where we form H3O plus and then some chloride, right? We thus have ions, and thus, even though we added a molecular compound, we've made an electrolytic solution. So this, the most common example is with acids and bases. And that's what we're going to take a look into next.